the foreign minister has said that we can go back to our 2020 patrolling points, which is a great diplomatic victory for India. And also the army was involved. There were so many series of corps commander level talks, everything, sir. How did this happen? That is part one of the question. And can we trust the Chinese, sir?
Okay, so thank you very much once again, Gaurav. And, responding to your second question first, I think the trust deficit has been so huge between the two countries. I think if at all, it's going to take a long time to repair it. Now, how did this happen? Because I think we also really need to look at the geopolitics. We really need to see how the global issues, affairs have been developing, have been changing. There has been so much of turmoil, so much of turbulence in the world. And, you mentioned about Galwan 2025 agreements. I would like to take you back a little bit also. Look at 2017. What happened in Doklam.
Yes, sir.
There also, what was the idea of the Chinese? Basically, they wanted to come close to the chicken's neck so that, they have a commanding position there and they are able to sort of, control whatever as far as the northeast is concerned. And we know that, 93,000 square kilometers of Arunachal Pradesh is what they claim to be a the
South Tibet is what they call it.
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely. Sir. That's what it is. And before that, even in 2013, you would recall that when the first visit of the Chinese Prime Minister at that time, Li Keqiang, that took place around that time. Also, there was an incursion by China into India. So I think this messaging, even in 2014, when Xi Jinping came here,
yes, sir.
There was also in September 2014, you might remember.
Yes, sir.
And, it was both in Gujarat, in Ahmedabad. But when the two leaders came to Hyderabad House in Delhi, then the Prime Minister sent out a very clear signal to President Xi Jinping that, we'll not be able to realize the full potential of our relations unless we have peace and tranquility at the border. So I think these indications were available to us at that time. But of course, we can speculate a great deal as to why did the Chinese do what they did at the time that they did. But I tend to agree with you that it's a huge victory, huge diplomatic victory, huge in that sense also communicating a message to China that as far as militarily we are concerned, we are not going to buckle under, we are not going to back down. Because you would recall that, after this happened, Galwan happened in June of 2020. In September of 2020, we had the meetings between Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh and the Chinese Foreign Minister in Moscow. We had the meeting between EM, Dr. Jaishankar, and the Chinese Foreign Minister again in Moscow on the sidelines of the SCO summits. And at that time, it was thought, they said, that we are going to come together and resolve this issue.
Yes, sir.
But that has not happened. And we have come to this particular position. I think we need to be very careful going forward. We need to be keep ourselves prepared and not be taken by surprise. This time the Chinese might have, in April 2020, they moved in because they thought that, India would not be able to handle it. We were too busy with the pandemic, dealing with the pandemic. No one knew what the impact of the pandemic is going to be. But right now, why we need to welcome, but we need also to stay fully prepared. China for the last 4 years has been telling us that the situation is normal on the border and we can restore the rest of the relationship, particularly the economic relationship, because we know that China has its back to the wall as far as its the economic situation back home is concerned. So I think we need to be really
absolutely
in every sense of the word.
Absolutely, sir. But in a sense, what you're saying is that there were a series of incidences which has led to this thing happening recently, that now we can go back to our old patrolling points. Having said that, I see an underlying message in which you're saying keep your powder dry.
Absolutely.
Is that true, sir?
Absolutely. I think we've seen not only as far as our own border is concerned. They saw an opportunity and they came in. But it is not only relationship on the 3,488 kilometers of the border. There is also a bigger relationship in the area of the economy. They also know that India is present as a member of the Quad as far as the South China Sea is concerned, as far as Chinese expansionism in that area is concerned. So, it's not only a trans-border relationship, but it's a broader, wider relationship. And they thought that they, like all the other countries, that they would be able to browbeat India.
And that didn't happen.
I think they have realized that that is not possible. You would recall when, in 2016,
Sure.
Philippines got this result, this decision from the Permanent Court of Arbitration about South China Sea, about, the Paracel Islands, Spratly Islands, Scarborough Shoals, about the 9-dash line that China had been insisting that this whole body of water belonged to China. But Philippines got this decision, but still they were not really able to implement it.
But China would not honor it, sir.
China would not honor it, and they sort of, did a bit of muscle flexing. And Philippines was not able to withstand that pressure. So also Vietnam. And they thought India would also do the same. But India is different.
India is much larger, sir, the most populous country on earth.
No,
Plus,
we were, let's say we were large in 62 also. It's not that we become large now. But I think in terms of what we have been able to do, in terms of developing our border infrastructure, whether it is roads, whether it is tunnels, whether it is bridges.
that has really hurt the Chinese.
That is, yes, I think the message has gone to them very clearly, because even after 2020, they thought, all the global economies, they have really, come on their knees. But not India. India has continued not only to grow, but it has also continued to introduce reforms, whether it is GST, whether it is IBC, you name it. Our reform process has not stopped. And that is why your economy has continued to grow. And since the size of the pie has grown, economy has grown, you are able to sort of, put in that much more money as far as defense is concerned, new technology is concerned, whether it is the Rafales, whether it is the Apache or the Chinook or the Sea Dragons, as far as the Predator drones are concerned. So everywhere, India has been able to do that, and India has been able to demonstrate that we are not going to get cowed, and we are not going to get pressurized and pushed by what China is doing.